Okay, hi. I think we're live. I'm back from my break and I'm ready to start programming. Working on the Rust Roguelike tutorial. Let me transition to my main screen here. There we go. So this is where we left off. We were in the middle of debugging our maze code, trying to figure out why it wasn't generating a proper maze. And I think we just need to take a look at how we decide whether or not to remove a wall. And there might be some bug here, so let's take a look at that. And I think it's just maze. Yeah. I'm not sure where the bug might be yet. I haven't looked at this for the last 5 days, so forgive me as I dig my way through this. Let's see. So self-visit is true. Backtrace push self-current. We had this thing here, lower part and higher part. We split here. We grab a lower part for that side. We grab the higher part for that side, and then we remove the walls, right? So is there a bug in remove walls? Where do we have remove walls? Maybe remove walls. No, remove walls must. Okay, let's take a look at it here. Let's go to remove walls. Oh yeah, so this is the code that I refactored. So maybe the remove walls. Yeah, so this was this, right? So I was saying if x is 1, right, then left self walls is left and next walls is right. So that's where I was doing mine and yours here. We can change this to the way they've got it here and see if that makes a difference and see if that's what I messed up. It seems like this should work, but we'll see. Paste this in here. Comment this part out. And maybe reformat some of this stuff here. I think I just need to shift it in one to make it look nice. Yeah. All right. And does it check? It does. The other thing I wanted to do while I was in here was make it so that we can get the random, instead of doing a random number generator choice, we'll just base it on the level when we choose which map to build. And that way we can actually just specify which map we're going to get. We can just say, oops, let builder equals new depth mod. How many do we have? 8. And that way we can just say maze builder is number 1. This guy's number 7. There we go. And that way when we're in depth 1, we're going to get the maze builder every time. All right, that should check. Once I put a semicolon on there. All right, so let's build that and see if that made any difference in terms of building the map. So let me go over here. Because what was happening was it's eating through every wall. And that's not the way the map should end up looking. So let me hit refresh. Yeah, okay, so that was the bug. This is actually working. It's not eating through every wall anymore. So I must have messed something up when I translated. Let's take a look at the code itself. Right, so I thought the way this would work is x equals 1, right, and y is anything, then we'll do left, right. If x is negative 1 and y is anything, we'll do right, left. And I thought the way the pattern matched was top to bottom. So so just like this if else thing. So I'll have to look at that and figure out what's to learn why that's not working. But meanwhile, let's clean this up. I think that's the only problem with this, except the fact that it's really slow. And what I did was I changed it to take a snapshot every 3. Maybe we take a snapshot every, I don't know, 15. Let's try that. That way it'll run a little faster. All right, refresh. Yeah, it's running a little faster because now we're getting it every 15 instead of every 3. It's still pretty slow though. It'd be nice to modify the way we paint this based on what kind of map we're building. And then once it finishes, I'm going to just run around for a couple of seconds just to see how it plays, because we never actually played the map. There we go. Oh, and then it cut off some. Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that anything would get cut off because it just generated a whole... Oh, right, because it's based on distance, right? We calculate what we can reach based on like 200 steps, and if we can't reach something within 200 steps, then it's too far away. So maybe just the maze is too long. Yeah, okay, and this is kind of hard to navigate too. All right, let's see what they say about it. Down here, right? So the way this, see, this is going much faster, right? So they must have changed something the way we paint. And then there's the copy to map. I think we must have done that, otherwise it wouldn't have worked, right? Yeah, we got copy to map. And it must be identical because it all worked. And then I had a quick hack in here. I guess we can remove that. Right? But for now, oops, why'd that happen? The computer's running a little extra slow today. Let me get rid of that. There we go. All right, so speeding up the generator. We're waiting. Yeah, okay, so this is it. We're wasting a lot of time by snapshotting at every iteration. And we're building a huge list of snapshot maps. That was great for learning the algorithm, but simply takes too long when playing the game. We'll modify our generate maze function to count iterations and only log every 10th. All right. 10th, and then they have 50 here. Okay. We can make it 50. Look for the 15 and change it to a 50. Right? I think they basically did the same thing I did. Except I call it snap level and they made it, yeah. So, and they used the letter, the variable named I. Oh, copy to map. Okay, that should go in there too. And then snap plus equals 1. All right. Let's give that one more shot and then maybe we can finish up the maze stuff. Finding the exit. Fortunately, our current algorithm will start you at cell 1-1, which corresponds to map location 2-2. So in build, we can easily specify a starting point. Oh, we must, yeah, but we must already have that in there, right? Right, starting position. I set it at 0-0, and then we change it to 50-50 here. Oh, okay, so they're just putting it up there. I think maybe they left some of this code out. Remember, we had to play around with this to get it to compile or to get it to run because it was panicking before. So I think what we need to do is just change this to 0-0, right? Because we're not using, 2-2. Start IDX. Yeah, so this is just finding the starting position, and what we can do is just change that to what they've got here. So just position x2 and y2, and that should always be the an open cell, right? We shouldn't have to take a snapshot after that, but so this goes here, this goes here. We don't need to do any of that, and that goes like that. All right, then the exit tile and place the stairs, and then the noise areas. So that's all the same. All right, and then restoring the randomness, they uncommented that. Okay, so I think we finished the maze. What do we have here for the differences? Yeah, so I modified that. I want to fix this, but maybe later. And then we have this snapshot every 50. I changed this, and this is going to stay like this for now, because I want to keep adding new ones. Yeah, so git add source, git status, git commit -m. Well, what do we have for the log? Because must have said initial buggy implementation of a maze. Okay, git commit fixed bug in maze generation and made snapshot or preview faster, like that. All right, and that wraps up the maze section of this tutorial. Let's go on. What do we got next? Diffusion-limited aggregation. This sounds very fancy. Diffusion-limited aggregation is a fancy name, for a constrained form of the drunken walk. It makes organic-looking maps with more of an emphasis on central area and arms coming out of it. With some tricks, it can be made to look quite alien or quite real. See this excellent article on Rogue Basin. Okay. So it's creating another style of random cave. It produces much neater maps and wider tunnels. Okay. That's good. So we'll create a new file, map builders DLA. So map builders maze to source map builders DLA. Right, and then instead of maze builder, it's DLA builder. So let's look for maze and DLA. Right, this is all going to change. So let's go back up here and just, we're basically doing the scaffolding, as they said. So in the last chapter, we introduced the idea of adding parameters to our builder. We'll do the same again for DLA. There's a few algorithm variants. Okay, so we're going to derive partial equal copy and clone for DLA algorithm. Walk inwards, walk outwards, and central attractor. Okay, and then we have the same thing for the symmetry. Pub enum DLA symmetry. None, horizontal, vertical, and both. That's interesting that none is highlighted because it's a keyword in Rust. Well, it's the none sum thing, right? So none or something is going to be in purple, but it's okay to read it this way because this is part of this enum. And our builder will include one more thing called brush size. So we get the map, starting position, depth, the history, noise areas. The algorithm is the DLA algorithm, The brush size is an I32. Symmetry is DLA symmetry, and floor percent F32. Okay, yeah, the floor percent came from the drunken walk thing. We're supporting 3 algorithms. We've added symmetry, non-horizontal or vertical or both. We've also added brush size and in 4% from the Drunkard's walk chapter, right? Okay, so now we have to build it with the new. I think all of this stays the same, right? Because we do all these same exact things. So it'd be nice if there was some way we could commonalize the code. And so now we just have to add these guys here. Algorithm, DLA algorithm walk inwards. Brush size defaults to 1. Symmetry, DLA symmetry none. And gotta make that lowercase, and then floor percent defaults to 25%. Right? And then we're going to walk inwards. So the most basic form of diffusion-limited aggregation works like this. Dig a seed area around your central starting point. While the number of floor tiles is less than your desired total, select a starting point at random for your digger, then use the Drunkard's walk algorithm to move randomly. If the digger hit a floor tile, then the previous tile they were in also becomes a floor, and the digger stops. So it makes little loops. Very simple and not hard to implement, and then there's this giant blob of code. All right. So we grab the random number generator. We still have to do starting position, exit tile, figure out downstairs, and then the noise areas. So, okay. We'll just add it here. Carve starting seed. BI is trying to be so helpful. Self-starting position X self-map width over 2 and Y self-map height over 2. Okay. And then we have start IDX. So it's just this line of code here. And then we take a snapshot. All right. Self-map tiles start IDX is tile type floor. Oops, floor. And then we're going to do index -1, index +1, map width. Okay. So it's just all the regions around -1, +1, minus self-map width. I'm going to see if the usize thing complains. Self-map width. No, it doesn't complain, so I don't need the usize things in there. And then we're going to set up a random walker. Nope, it's not Control D. It is, let me just try it here, because if I go like this and hit U, yeah, okay, Control U. Let total tiles self-map width times self-map height, and then let desired floor. This is similar to the Drunkard's walk, right? Self-floor percent times total tiles as F32 as usize. And then floor tile count self-maps tiles iter filter A star A is tile type floor count. Yes, count. All right, and then now we're going to loop while floor tile count is less than desired tile count. We're going to use the DLA algorithm to determine what to do, and we've only got walk inwards implemented here. Okay. So we're probably going to get to the others at some point. So we're picking a random location, roll dice, somewhere in the map. Digger Y goes to height. And then we're saving the previous. Right? And then we're going to grab the index itself. Oh, these should be mutable. And then digger index self map xy idx digger x and digger y. And then while we see a wall, we're going to stagger. Okay. So this is again very similar. Let me see if I can pull up the drunk. Is it possible to just copy that code? Oh, it got all spread out. And it's drunk instead of digger. Okay, let's just do it here. While self map tiles digger idx. So while we're finding a wall, prev x and prev y is digger x and digger y, which we just set up here. Match RNG roll dice 1 to 4. If it's 1, it's greater than 2, right? Okay, so if we can move to the left, then we move to the left. If it's less than self map width minus 2, right? Then we can move to the right. And then for 3, we're going to go the Y direction, right? Right? If we can move up, then we'll move up. And 4, anything else, is this guy here, except using height. Right? Let me just close these guys. And then that's the match. And then we're going to set the digger idx. The same thing here. Like that, right? And then we want to self paint. So we're going to have to write paint. And then for the others, we just say do nothing for now. Right? Looks good. The only new thing here is the call to paint. We'll be extending it later to handle brush sizes, but here's a temporary implementation. Okay, let us, oh, and then we don't need these cells, right? This is all from the other, yeah, the cells and the grids. We don't need any of that. So let's delete all that. Get rid of that blank line at the end, and I will write paint. Takes an XY coordinate and it converts it to a digger index. Interesting. Yeah, it just seems bizarre. I'm constantly converting back and forth between XY and index. Self map tiles digger idx equals tile type floor. All right, so that does that. That's going to check because I'm not including it, right? In here, I need to include it here. Mod DLA, I think I called it. Yeah, just DLA. That's all it is. Okay. And then use DLA, oh, star, because we need a few things. And then we're going to change our map builder. That'll be 8, and this will be a 1. Yeah. It says if you cargo run this, but we haven't done this part yet. Box, new, DLA builder, new depth, like that. And now it'll blow up. Yeah, okay. So I didn't like this. Oh, I didn't do the match. Match self.algorithm. How did I miss that? All right, so let's shift this and put the match in here. And then we got to close it down here like that. Okay. That was probably a source of a lot of errors. DLA algorithm. Did I misspell it? Yep, I did. ALG. I wonder if that's, again, the source of many errors. DLA algorithm. Oh, okay. Still 9 errors. Oh, okay, so it's still misspelled. ALGORITHM, right? Okay, now it's there. 6 errors. Oh, desired floor tiles. What's this one? Oh, we can't assign like that. Okay. All right. So let's delete that, delete that, delete that, and delete that. Okay. What else? It didn't like this. Mismatch types. Oh. Oh, yeah. I did a check and it didn't complain, and that was because I didn't mod it in. Okay, as use size. So we do need these as use sizes after all. That's it. 9 warnings. What are the warnings? Oh, we're not using half the stuff that's in here. Yeah, okay. But meanwhile, it should build, and we should be able to see this sort of thing here, right? I don't remember taking the snapshots, but let's see. Yeah, I think it just panicked. And I don't know where, because this is not helpful. So let's go over here, and we can do this while I take a look at the code and see where it might have panicked. So we're doing a build. Where is it? Diffusion. So it's going to be here, grabbing the starting position. And the starting position's in the middle, so we know that there's going to be the surrounding tiles. So that's not going to be an issue. Then we're going to pick a random location that should be in the map, because we're doing -3 + 1. All right. Let's see what this is doing. It should pull up. Right? Where'd it go? It's just taking its time. Okay. So while that's pulling up, let's take a look here. We grab the map width, we grab the map height for X and Y. We set previous X and previous Y to XY. We grab the index. If it's a wall, And we have X and Y. Oh, okay, so stagger direction is this thing here. Digger X is greater than 2, Digger X minus 1, Digger X less than the width minus 2, plus 1. And all the X's and Y's and all the widths and heights are correct. This is correct. Seems like it's an infinite loop, right? That's my guess, is that it's an infinite loop. Oh, and we're never incrementing floor tile count. So that's not going to work, right? That's not going to work because we never set floor tile count anywhere. So let's set that at the end of the while, right? We'll put it right here. And we'll just update the count. That's got to be the bug, right? Because we're just sitting there looping indefinitely. Okay, let's build that. And the CPU fan is going crazy because I guess it was just spinning there forever. Refresh this. No, are we still in an infinite loop? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. We got the warnings. Let's go. Okay, it's running. Oh, there we go. Okay. So it kind of worked. It kind of worked. Let's quit. So why didn't it work here? I did the build and I hit refresh here. But it's sitting here spinning, refreshing. So there's got to be some other... Oh yeah, and I'm not doing a snapshot. So we're not seeing the take snapshot each time through the loop. So we can do that too. But again, this should work here. I'm not sure why it's not... Yeah, so let's rebuild it one more time. Make sure the server didn't die. No, it would have complained, right? Let's just kill this tab and start a new tab. There it goes. Oh wow, that's slow. That what it's supposed to look like? I mean, this is going a little faster, but that's kind of what it's doing, right? Just very, very slowly. Okay. A second variant of this algorithm reverses part of the process. Dig a seed area around your central starting point, and while the number of floor tiles is less than your desired total, set the digger to a starting central location. Use the Drunkard's walk to move randomly. The digger hit a wall tile, then the tile becomes a floor and the digger stops. That sounds the same. Select the starting point at random for your digger. Is that the only difference? Set the digger to starting central location. Okay, so that's the difference. So let's see what coding wise, this looks the same, but let's see. Right? We have digger X, digger Y. We don't save a previous X and Y. Oh, okay. Okay, and instead of picking a random location on the map, we just set starting position here. Although this one did start kind of in the middle, right? Let me hit refresh and see if it'll... No, right there. It started there. Huh. Yeah, shouldn't this start not in the middle? I mean, isn't it the whole point? That we're doing this? And starting the digger in some random location? It's passing in previous x, previous y, and it's setting it to floor. And it's, okay, it's saying while this is a wall, do I need to set the floor? Is that what's missing? Do I have to set the floor at the location? Because it looks like it's saying, while this is a wall, then do a random location. Right? And so it's going to start wherever there's a floor, and there's always going to be a floor right in the middle. All right, but I guess as it works its way out, it's picking a random place to put a new digging spot. Okay. Okay. So as it picks a random location to do the new place to dig, it's just going to pick a little thing on the corner, and so it looks like there's a bunch of little diggers just digging outward. Although this one's called walk inwards. It looks like it's kind of walking from the center out. All right, and then the walk outwards has a starting position. Let's just copy this, and then we can just whatever. Oops. Yeah. We'll just say DLA algorithm walk outwards. And this, instead of digger x being random, it'll be self starting position dot x. And this will be self starting position dot y. We don't save the previous. We do get the XY index, and we do check for a floor here. So while it's a floor, then we're going to stagger in some random direction. We don't save the previous. We do the same exact offset, and then we paint digger x, digger y. So that stays the same. Does that check? Oh, we want to paint digger x and digger y, right? Yeah, and we have 8 warnings because now we're actually using walk outwards. Well, we're not setting it. Let's change our default so we do a walk outwards, right? And if we build that, and at some point we'll have to add the symmetry thing in, right? And the brush size. I'm sure we're getting to that. Okay, so let's refresh. And this is walk outwards. Looks almost the same. Except actually, no, it doesn't, because it's actually digging from a central area, right? So it's saying while there's a wall, while there's a floor, look for a new spot until we hit a wall. And once we hit a wall, then we're going to dig that wall out. This looks interesting. Is that what this is going to turn into? Because it looks like it's just punching out a hole. Yeah. This is just punching out a hole. I guess this is kind of punching out a hole, and then it's kind of going. But if we're always starting at the starting position, walk outwards, then eventually this is going to get hit, right? We're not going to drunkard walk this way. Yeah, I don't know if it looks pretty good. I don't know if it's meant to look like this, or if it's meant to look like. Well, we have an algorithm. What's the central attractor version? Okay. I mean, it looks, I don't think I made any typos there, right? So walk outwards, yeah, self-starting position X and Y, digger index is X and Y. And while it's type floor, we're going to roll the dice and do the same exact code and then grab the new location. And then once we hit a wall, we're going to paint it to a floor and then keep going. All right, well, let me do this same thing I did from the last one and do a let mute I equals 0, and then say take the snapshot only when I plus equals 1, if I mod 50 equals 0, then take the snapshot. All right, let me build that and see if it looks any better, because this is going way too slow for us to just watch it dig out a central area here. Yeah, see, that's what it's doing. It's just generating a giant cave until a quarter of the map is used. So it doesn't look like this. So there's something else missing that we don't have here. This one looks like it, right? If I switch back to this map, if I look for walk outwards and change it to walk inwards and build that, and now we'll be able to see it build a little bit faster. And hopefully it'll look like the inwards map, which is, this is walking inwards. There we go. So it should look like this, right? If I hit refresh. Yeah, that looks pretty good, right? I mean, that looks like a good kind of map, right? Of course, nothing's spawning on it. Oh, didn't we set up the noise areas? Or maybe we still need to do that part of it. All right, walking outwards. There's some issue here. It's not really walking outwards, is it? It's just digging out a giant hole. Let's do central attractor. Right here. We'll put it here. Nope, not there. Here. DLA algorithm central Attractor. And what is this? So dig a seed around your central starting point, yeah, while the number of floor tiles is less than your desired total. Pick a random point, plot a line to the center of the map and keep it, and traverse the line. If the digger hit a floor tile, then the previous tile they were in also becomes a floor and the digger stops. Okay. So we get random lines that go into a central point. All right, let's copy and paste, because that worked so well last time. Oh yeah. Copy. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Yank that and paste that. So these lines are the same. We have previous stays the same. Digger index stays the same. And now we're going to generate a path. Line 2D, RLTK, line alg, Bresenham with a B, TK point, new, digger X and digger Y, right? And then RLTK point, new, the starting location. Right? And that's the path. And then while it's a wall and the path is not empty, then we're going to walk the path. And then we have path remove. Oh, I see. We just remove from the path, and then we set previous x and y to a floor. Okay. So while self map tiles digger x is a wall and path is empty, that's that. We no longer do a drunkard's walk. We now say digger x is path 0 of x, and digger y is path 0 of y, right? And path remove 0. Set the digger location and go. All right. So let's change that. Instead of walk outwards, we're going to do, where is it? Here it is. Central Attractor. Right? Yep. Okay, so does that check? We're up to 9 warnings now. I thought we would go down. And then at some point we're going to figure out how to, well, we'll just generate random settings, right? All right, so this is the line-based one. So you can see kind of like there's lines coming out from the, and then it doesn't go far enough, right? But you can kind of see the, oh, we're generating chaps all over the place. So I guess the noise stuff is working. But yeah, so we get kind of lines radiating out from a central point, which is kind of what they're showing here. All right, so those are the map types. And now we're going to implement symmetry. This is a pretty classic poem, Tiger. It's actually quoted in Doctor Who too, in one episode. All right, so now we're going to modify our paint code because we're going to add symmetry for painting. And apparently we're going to do brush size at some point. Let's get to that. Paint. All right, so here's our paint code. So we're going to match on self symmetry. DLA symmetry none. Self apply paint. Oh, apply paint. Now there's an apply paint. Oh, that's where we do the brush. Okay, I got it. Self apply paint XY. Symmetry horizontal. Okay, let center X, self map width over 2. If X is center X, then we're going to just apply the paint. Right? Otherwise, dist X is the absolute value of the difference, and then we're going to apply it on either side of the center. Okay. Minus X, and then apply paint of center X plus dist X, and center X minus. All right, so that's that one. These can go. And then vertical is going to be the same except for Y. Vertical is center Y, and width changes to height. Let's just change X to Y. Not that one, just right. And this becomes X, and then Y minus dist Y, and Y plus dist Y, right? And then both. So then we're going to do both. There's got to be an easier way than this, right? This is just a lot of repetitive code. because now we're going to just combine these. Copy, paste, and then we're going to say y here. We're going to do exactly the same change we just did. Center x is x, and center y equals center y. Then we'll apply paint xy, otherwise we'll do dist x and dist y. Copy, paste, and done. Right? And now we're going to do, see that this all makes sense to me. So we're going to do the apply paint function now. Right? I32 and I32, and we're going to match on self brush size. If it's just 1, then it's the code we had from before. Nope. Nope. Right? Oh, except the other way around. 2. Yeah, so that's the code we had before. If the brush size is anything else, why are we doing a match then? Can we just say if brush size equals 1 else? Isn't that simpler? And then say else here. We don't need to do match everywhere. Match is great, but we don't need to, not everything needs to be a match. Half brush size, self brush size over 2. Brush y in y minus half brush size 2 x plus half brush size. If brush x is bigger than 1 and brush x is less than self map width minus 1, brush y is less than self map height minus 1, I bet. Yep. Then what are we going to do? We're going to set the index right, and this is going to be brush x and brush y, and we're going to set it to floor. Like that. So that's apply paint. All right, so we're going to use central Attractor and enable horizontal symmetry and see what that looks like. Right, that's what they're saying here. Let's give it a shot and see if it looks like this butterfly pattern. Right? So refresh on this. That doesn't look like, oh, I didn't build it. I was going to say, that doesn't look like what we just did. And I should have checked. Brush. Did I forget to initialize something? For brush Y, oh, and then for brush X, I totally missed that. Wow. So, come on. So let's do this. Brush X in X minus half brush size. This should be Y, right? That looks right. Yeah. So Y minus half to Y plus half for brush X and X minus half, X plus half. Wow. My eyes just slid right over that one. We did the first half of brush Y and the second half of brush X. All right. So what's the error here? Vertical. Oh, I must have typoed vertical up here. I did. V-E-R-T-I-C-A-L. There we go. Okay, so that builds, and then we're down to 7 warnings. Unreachable on line 150. Okay, let's fix that. These I all understand. Oh, this is unreachable now because we added all of the algorithm patterns. So because they're all there, we don't need that line anymore. Okay, so let's run this and see if we get a nice horizontal. Oh, look at that. A butterfly pattern. Oh, right off the bat, we get a goblin. Okay, this is cool. It's hard to maneuver, but there we go. Okay. All these little circles here. Don't really look like a cave with the circles, but all right. I mean, it looks like maybe columns, right? Okay, so what's left to do? Because we still have the warnings, and I think it's because we need to make algorithms that, yeah, I'm playing with the brush size. So we can do that. And now we need, yes, we need to create the constructors for them and then add those to all of the random things, right? We have a DLA builder for all of these guys. Insectoid, I like that. Okay, so let's make these constructors, and that should clean up all the warnings, right? It'd be nice if they showed us, I mean, this would be a good opportunity for showing how Rust's default stuff works, right? Because the way the default works is some of this, all this repetitive code like vec new and hash map new and all that kind of stuff can just be in a single function, and then we can just create a separate constructor that just has the differences in and then says default, right? This would be a good opportunity for that, but let's do these. So we're going to need each one of these guys, right? Let's copy, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Yeah, 4 of them. All right. So this is going to be walk inwards. New depth position, new depth, vec, hash map. This will be walk inwards. Brush size is 1, symmetry is none, and 4% is 25%. Okay, and this becomes walk outwards. Those are all the same. This becomes walk outwards. Brush size is 2. We're not going to have any symmetry, and floor percent is 25. All right, and then central attractor. All right, this is all the same. That's some central attractor. Brush size is 2. Again, known for the symmetry. And an insectoid. So we're not. This isn't going to remove all of the warnings because, right? We're only using. Oops, that was horizontal. We're only using horizontal symmetry. There's no vertical symmetry, and there's no both symmetry. So we have a bunch of dead code, and that's going to generate warnings. All right. So and then in mod.rs. Let's add those in. I'm going to change this back, except if new depth is 1, we're going to... all right, yeah, I'll just change it back. So then we have... I moved this here, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. So then we have, but I got rid of the simple one, right? It's BSP dungeon. Oh no, simple map builder is there. Okay. Good. Box, new, DLA, builder, walk inwards, new depth, 9, 10, and 11, and walk inwards. Becomes walk outwards. This becomes central attractor, and this becomes insectoid. All right. So that's the DLA map. All sorted out. Oh, I didn't check. Cargo check, and we should still get some warnings. We're down to 5 warnings. And I think it's because, like I said, we're not using vertical or both. Yep. And this new, oh, we're not using new anymore. Okay, I can at least clean that up, and I can clean up line 208 here. Right, that's not needed. And pub fun new. We can get rid of this whole function. And then aside from these 2 warnings here, Clippy should be happy. Let's see what Clippy says. Yeah, vertical in both. Okay. Git commit. No, git status. And we have the new DLA added. What's it called? Diffusion-limited aggregation. Map, right? All right, and now let me just look up, because I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. Rust default constructor. Yeah, there's a way. Oh, that doesn't help. Yeah, Rust supports default constructors with the default trait. So derive default. So you can do a default. You can say second. In this example, you can say second : default, and it'll generate 0. Yeah, right here. But we should be able to do that for our. I think the only gotcha is the default constructor takes no arguments, right? So I think we would have to create our own, because we're passing in the depth, right? We need to specify a depth. I think that's the gotcha. So we can set depth to 1 as a default and then change it here. Oh no, because we have to generate a map with a new depth. So that new depth has to be coming in. So that one line can't be different. But what about the rest? Can we do this? Pub fun new DLA builder. And we'll just grab this. Oops. Right, and what we'll do is we'll just assume a 1 here. We'll assume a 1 here. And walk inwards is fine. Brush size 1 is fine. None is fine. 4% of 25 is fine. And now we should be able to, using this, derive default. What? I don't know what just happened there. Derive default, right? If I check that, will that check? No. Because why? Something to do with starting position. Trait default is not implemented for, oh, because I need to, okay, so I can't derive default that way, but I can make a default, right? Can I make a default? Can I just say default like this? Oh, or do I have to implement default? I mean, it's not complaining, but I don't think I can do the default thing now. So if I delete this and this and this, Walk inwards is that's that. So that's all the same, right? That except for the depth. I don't think this is going to work. No, default is not implemented. So I might have to say impl default for DLA builder in order to do it by hand. It must implement default instead of derive. Yeah, Tim, I think you're right, because I think that just worked, right? We got 0 errors on that. So that means I can get rid of that, right? That and that. The walk outwards has to stay. The brush size has to stay, but the symmetry of none is the same. So now we can say default. Floor percent stays the same. That should check. Nope, because I typoed default. Also, hi Tim, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope this is entertaining. I have to figure out, one of the feedback comments I got was to add background music, and I got to figure out how to do that. On a Mac, it's not easy to grab audio from your from the computer. You need some sort of a loopback mechanism, and I got to figure out how to do that. All right, so that built, and then here, central attractor, brush size 2, and then horizontal, and then the default, right? Oops. Copy, paste. All right. And we still have just the 3 warnings, which is the vertical, both, and then the third warning is the fact that warnings happened. All right, here's a warning that we generated 2 warnings. So now we generate 3 warnings. All right, so that's cool. It should build this way, and Clippy should be happy. Oops, I hit Control R too fast. Except for the vertical and the both. And you know what? Maybe we'll just let's make a couple extra maps in the mod thing to get rid of those warnings, right? All we need is something that uses vertical and both. So let's call it crazy, because I don't know what it's going to end up looking like. And we'll use both here, right? The brush size of 1, and then symmetry of vertical, which is going to be, I don't know, how do you spell Rorschach? I should know, right? There it is, R-O-R-S-C-H-A-C-H. Oh, I've lost it. C-H-A-C-H, there we go. Yeah, that should be this one, right? R-O-R-S-C-H-A-C-H, and then the other one's crazy with vertical. All right, and then we got to add it to our mod. So we need 12 and 13. And we go all this crazy and R-R-S-C-H-A-C-H, right? Check. Okay, so I got rid of the warnings at least. This should still build this way. And then that's the end of diffusion, right? So what we did today was we debugged the maze generation code. That was at the beginning of the stream. And then we went through this. I'm still bothered by the fact that our walk outwards doesn't work properly. And I'm going to have to look into that. Maybe I can look at the code that's on. Why don't we do that now while I still have time? Let's take a look at the walk outwards code that they have here. And maybe it's maybe it'll give us some clues as to why. Where is it? DLA. So there's walk inwards and walk outwards. So let's pull up our walk outwards and see if it's the same. Well, let's check this in first. Git status, git add source, git diff staged. Yeah, so all I did was add a default. Oh, I should have done this in 2 separate commits, right? And then we have our crazy and Rorschach, that guy. Git add, oh, I did git add commit -m, removed warnings, and added a default constructor. All right, so let's push that up and now take a look at, oops, DLA. So we're going to look at the walk outwards algorithm, which got stretched out by the formatter. Looks like they didn't run cargo format on this, right? Digger X, starting position, digger IDX, XY IDX, right? If it's a floor, roll the dice, get the stagger direction. Yeah. I don't see how this wouldn't make a giant blob like we're making. Because we're always starting in the middle, and then we keep walking until we hit a wall, and then we dig it. And if we're going to walk in a random direction, we're going to walk in a random direction, and we're going to make a sort of a circle. But the algorithm, they claim, will end up looking not like that. That's central attractor. This is walk outwards, right? So there must be some other aspect of the walk outwards algorithm that's missing from this code, from this example, right? I don't see what would do this to avoid, because we're starting from the middle location. We're going to randomly walk every time from the middle, and something's going to say go until we can't, until maybe we're looking for something with, I don't know. I'm confused. Anyway, we've gotten that far. And what else? Should we start on the next one? Adding symmetry and brush sizes library functions. Ah, okay. In the previous chapter on diffusion-limited aggregation, we introduced 2 new concepts for map building, symmetry and brush size. These readily apply to other algorithms, so we're going to take a moment to move them into library functions. All right. So it's basically just moving the code and then modifying DLA to use it, and then make a wider carving drunk. All right. I've only got 15 minutes left, so I don't think I should start this now. But what the hell? Let's start it now. I changed my mind that fast. So common. So we're going to move the, we're going to make symmetry a thing here, right? So let's pull up DLA and pull the symmetry stuff out and put it here and get rid of the DLA part of it. So it's still non-horizontal, vertical, or both. Our paint function now becomes applied to a map, right? So that's all of this. And we're going to move that into common here. And we're going to make it public. And instead of mute self, we're going to say map. And we're going to give it a mode. Brush size I32. Okay. So instead of self symmetry, it's just mode. And then we're going to change all of these, right? All right, and then instead of all the selfs, we're going to apply paint to the map. That would be cool to add that to a map, right? Rather than having to call map every time. right? We should be able to just say map apply paint, right? And now for every apply paint, we have to add map to it. And brush size, right? I like VI's ability to do that. Oops, and then you go too far. Okay. So is that it in terms of changes? That gets that there, and then we should be able to switch over. Oh, okay, let's do apply paint while we're here. Right, all of this moves up into here as a public function. And we've also taken the map and a brush size. So if brush size is 1, map tiles is that, I think we can just look for the self dot, right? All of those. Everything else is the same. Okay, so digger now, sorry, DLA, let's save this. And then DLA should use it. Instead of self paint, we're just going to call paint and pass in the map and self symmetry and self brush size. I'm assuming here. That's probably what they're asking to do, right? Oh, we'll start by modifying the Drunkard settings. Oh, we're modifying the Drunkard's walk to use it first. I got ahead of myself, didn't I? Is there a way? All right, well, you know what? I'm going to do it this way anyway. And then we can modify the Drunkard's walk to use it. So there's the paint. What other paint calls are there here? Map and self symmetry and self brush size. And here's one. And that one we already did. Is this going to check? It is not. Oh, because we don't have that anymore. Right, so now we're going to use symmetry instead of DLA symmetry. So every place that that's used, we just, oops, 3x, right? 3x, 3x, 3x. All right. We can't pass that in. Oh, self map, right? So paint, self map, paint, self map. Okay, so that works. So we actually now are using that in DLA. So now the question is, do we want to add it for the Drunkard's walk, right? We'll start by modifying the Drunkard settings struct to accept the two new features, brush size and symmetry. The compiler will complain that we aren't setting these in our constructors, so we'll add some default values. Okay. We can do this. Drunkard. Here's the Drunkard spawn code, Drunkard settings. So now we have pub brush size of I32 and pub symmetry of symmetry. And if we try to build that, it's going to complain that we didn't initialize it, right? In our Drunkard settings. Looks like we're going to have to do it in open area, open hall. All of these things need it, right? And this is where it'd be nice to have default for Drunkard settings. But that's okay. So what we'll do is brush size 1, symmetry none, and we'll do that for all of them. I guess we can look for the floor percent. Yeah, so brush size 1, symmetry none, right? And we'll do it for that, and we'll do it for that. And I think that's the only ones, right? Okay, so that got rid of the warnings and errors, but now we need to actually use them. We need to make similar changes to the other constructors, just adding brush size and symmetry to each of the Drunkard settings builders, right? Okay, I did that. We also need to replace the line this with this. Okay. So tile type downstairs. That's checking for it. I'm just looking for all the places we set this. All right, so we set it here. And that's, oh, that's the exit tile. Okay, so this is just, we only need to set it in this one here. Or we say self, oh, so paint, self map, self settings, symmetry, self settings, brush size, drunk X and drunk Y. Oh, and then I hit F1 by accident. Okay, and then we still want to set the downstairs. But I'm confused because if we're painting it, then the double draw retains the function of adding the greater than symbols to show you the walker's path while retaining the overdraw of the paint function. Oh, I see. So we're adding the greater than symbols for the downstairs, but then we're painting it into the map. Okay. To test this out, we'll add a new constructor to Drunkard, fat passages. Okay. So here we'll say pub fun fat passages. Drunkard's walk builder. And we're going to copy paste this and then just change the brush size, I bet. So new, we got depth. The starting position is in there. Vec history settings, and so drunk spawn mode random. Drunken lifetime 100. Floor percent 0.4, brush size 2, and symmetry none. Okay, and then we have to modify our builder to use it. So we're going to do that here. And switch this back. Oh, I never changed this to 14. I'm going to change it to 15 now. Put this guy down here as 14. Right? And then I'm going to put the new guy here, 1. And this is Drunkard's walk builder. And what did I call it? Or what was it called? Fat passages? Yeah. Okay. There's got to be a better way to do this, right? Maybe with a list of function pointers or something. Drunk ARDS. Okay, we got 3 warnings though. We're not using the RNG? Or... Oh, is this in my... So line 38. Oh, yeah, because I commented that out. Okay. So that should do that. And now let's build the fat. Oh, no, we hit maze. New depth mod 15 should be 1, right? Because new depth is 1. And somehow we ended up at 2. All right. Well, I don't understand, but Oh, maybe I didn't build. Okay. Now I do understand. All right, so let's see if that worked. Yep. So you can see we're digging fatter mazes, I guess. And then everything got erased because all of them were disconnected from the starting position. I did see the stairs end up over here. And now we should get the next maze, which is a maze thing. Yep, with traps and things. Okay. All right, I think that all works then. And then we can add symmetry. So like DLA, symmetrical drunkards can make interesting looking maps. So we'll add one more constructor, fearful symmetry. So this goes in Drunkard, right? So we have fat passages, and we add fearful symmetry from that Tiger poem. All right, so we're going to do drunken lifetime 100, floor percent 4, brush size 1, and symmetry both. And then we're going to add that as our mod here. So this guy comes down here to 15, and this guy becomes, I should have copied, this guy becomes 1, and then fearful symmetry. And these become 16 before I forget to change them to 16. Okay, so let's see how that looks. So now we'll get a two-way symmetrical drunkard walk. Right? Oh, or a crash. That looks more like a crash than anything else. Let's see what the crash is. Oh, maybe I can pull it up here. Yes, unreachable. No. Sometimes the error message will show up here, the line number that it panics on. It'd be nice if it did that all the time, but we'll always get it this way if we run it native code. There we go. So map builder, line 135, index out of bounds. Okay, so we must be painting off screen then. So we'll have to, what we'll do is we'll make it protected. We'll protect the bounds. Oops, it's in common, right? What line was it? 135. Yeah. So what's happening is that our XY index is off the map. And so we should add protection here and here for that. What's the easiest way to do that is just to check to make sure that if X is less than 1 or X is greater than or equal to map width, or Y is less than 1 or Y is greater than or equal to map height, we'll just return and ignore the request to paint off screen. All right, and let's refresh this. It seems to be working, although the symmetry is not all that, not all that symmetrical, but maybe it kind of is. I keep getting damaged. Does this seem symmetrical to you? I mean, except for the blood stains. Yeah, I guess it's kind of symmetrical. mostly. All right, so that's good. So we've added symmetry to our Drunkard's Walk, and we got this kind of a symmetrical map. And then we restore the randomness, okay, which I didn't take away. Let me, and it is in mod, right? So let's restore the randomness. Oops. And that's that. So let's check in with Clippy, and then maybe we can call this a stream. Good. Yeah, so we moved the functions, we moved the symmetry feature, and we moved the paint, apply paint functions, and then we modified the DLA builder to use that symmetry. We also modified the Drunkard's Walk. This is where all the code we pulled out. But there's the new types of Drunkard's Walk that uses the new symmetry code. And then we're using the new paint algorithm to paint it appropriately using that symmetry. And just in time, we get a train in the background. Okay. Git add source, git commit -m, use refactor symmetry code so that other maps can use it. All right, that I think is going to wrap things up for me. I don't know that I've seen anybody else come online since I don't see any other Rust coders out there right now. So I'm going to wish you a good day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed. Take care.